I was curious about what weird means in the dictionary. Its etymology, where it comes from, is from the same root in German called werden, which means to become. So, and it also is linked and means fate. So where the weird, kind of goofy, weird thing came from was like from Shakespeare and so on, because there were these weird sisters who were goddesses who controlled human destiny. So I'm assuming that last march was a weird march by a bunch of goddesses who hopefully will control human destiny as soon as possible. So, are you weird personally, Lynn?
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Yes.
If so, how?
Once again, embracing the philosophy of it, being a positive thing. I think my weirdness stems from, I refer to myself as a lifeaholic. I am one of these people, I don't think of myself as type A, though some people around me might disagree with that. When I think of type A people, I think of people who are like stressed out and trying to get stuff done. And my philosophy is if nobody's dying, it's doable. So I just try and roll, but I am not happy unless I have at least 5 plates in the air at any given time that I'm juggling. And so for me, it's, I also, I love exploring all different aspects of life. So I started out wanting to be a teacher, then I ended up getting a dance degree at the University of Texas. Then I ended up falling into and buying a sex shop. Then I started rehabilitating wildlife. I'm licensed with the state of Texas. I'm a raccoon specialist. I'm the person that if you hear that sound in your attic and you want to know how to get them to move along, the game warden will steer you to me or my sister. But then I also love music, played in bands, but then I also deeply involved in the theater world, and then circled my theater career, correcting and choreographing musicals, into getting involved in the burlesque community, and now I direct and co-produce the Texas Burlesque Festival. So to me, it's nothing is out of bounds. Nothing is really off limits. If it appeals to me, I go for it.
Steve, you weird?
I don't know. Maybe I should have had a sex shop. That's a bad
idea. But it was a strange fated thing.
It was.
I never in my wildest dreams.
And is there a pornographic section in BookPeople?
Well, it depends on who you're talking to. But we certainly get complaints all the time. I think that like stuff is pornographic that we don't even understand what they're talking about. So but we do have sex sections, and we do, we have that part of the store. But that's the business of books. We believe in the First Amendment. We have every kind of book that we can dream up. We have a big space, obviously, so we can have lots of different kinds of books. But I don't know, I try and keep it pretty much with a sense of humor all the time. I like to think that that work is great, but that life's about fun, and just try and do as much of that as I can.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely weird. I think, like I said, I don't know how else to express it. We spend a lot of time posturing, right? All of us do. And it's normal, our way of being. We want to show up here, I want to act buttoned up, I want to be liked, right? As human beings, we want to be seen, heard, connect, and belong. Those are the 4 things, right? I want you to see me, I want you to hear me, I want to connect with each of you, and then I want to belong. And so, what that does a lot of times is prevents us from being weird, because we want to present this kind of mask, right? Or this, we just throw that out and say, the heck with it, really. You're gonna find your tribe. Austin is a tribe, and there's a lot of weird energy and a lot of beautiful people in this town. I don't think it's unlike a lot of other towns. It's just, I think they spend a lot of time in the pretense of posturing and trying to show themselves in a particular light, rather than saying the hell with that. Because really, why do you want to spend your life doing something you don't really want to do to please someone else? That doesn't sound fulfilling or rewarding or enjoyable. You want to find what your passion is and not hide it. You want to shine a light on it, right? It's like, Aaron and I have 4 kids together, we're mixed, so that's weird enough as it is. 2 dogs, one of the dogs has shared custody, it gets really weird. And then that's just a little bit of it. But the reality of it is, I want our kids to, instead of shining lights on the shit that they don't do well, let's shine the light on the things they do well, and whatever that looks like, weird, whatever, and let them thrive, rather than try to make everybody fit into this box of what it should or shouldn't be. And I know you probably all heard it, but I like to think in analogies or cliches a lot, or metaphors, and the idea of don't shit on yourself, or I won't shit on you, don't shit on me, like should, not shit, should, right? Like don't shit on I should be doing this. Like I grew up with a hell of a lot of guilt, like and a lot of that kind of energy. Dude, I'm done with it. Like I'm not guilting my kids. I want my kids to be as weird and wacko and crazy and free-spirited as they can be, so they can thrive. Because that's where the people that are thriving in this world are people that don't care what anyone else thinks about. They're clear.
Yeah, I mean, to talk about, now the next topic is a bit to talk about, well, what's weird about our business and where did it come from? It just, in my case, we've been in existence for 28 years. 28 years, it seems like a long time. And I'm really happy with it. I love massage, and I came through the 60s. I've been weird my entire life. I got involved in politics when I was young, and with philosophy, and with experimental consciousness. You can't imagine what I'm talking about.
Oh, no.
And gradually I found my way into psychotherapy, and they said, well, you've educated your head as a college student, but you haven't educated your body or your heart. So I got into receiving massage. And it taught me so much, more than I even thought. I thought, wow, this is profound, because my actual degree is in music composition. I was very, very much into the meaningfulness that comes through music. I'm like, wow, massage can give you as profound an experience as Beethoven, if it's done well. And so I went from then doing massage, studying it, helping start another school, and then starting our own school in '89. And massage is, in general, a weird profession. We get to academically talk about strange things, which is kind of fun, like a yoga teacher. You get to say these things that are unusual, but they're very, very deep, and they go to the heart of the matter of what's life really about. And certainly this is, my philosophy is embedded in this field that I'm involved in. And when we say weird, it's not making fun of it, but it is about the freedom that's inherent in it, and about the sense of humor that you've mentioned. And so how do your businesses manifest whatever we want to think of as weird or something like that?
Well, I mean, we try stuff all the time in my business, and every bit of it has to have some sort of element of humor involved with it, as far as I'm concerned. The things we're doing in the store. But it's kind of like the atmosphere you create around all of it, that's where the elements of weirdness, what elements of what I think of as the humor and the looking at it not exactly the same way as everyone else comes into play. I mean, I sell something that you can buy in other places, but I'm trying to have the experience of being there be something different that people actually enjoy for the experience itself, and not necessarily just for the products that we have in the store that we're selling. And I think that for a business, a physical business in 2017, that's a pretty critical element, not just for me, but for anybody, that almost everything that anyone sells anywhere, you can buy any place now. So what we're all creating are experiences that people appreciate for whatever reason. I mean, if if no other reason, for the possibility of actually interacting with other human beings instead of staying in their bedroom all the time and buying everything from there and looking on a screen all day and all night. So that is what we're selling in the grand scheme of things, is the experience of being somewhere in a pleasant environment with people that you enjoy talking to about, in our case, books, but in other people's cases, about other things. And so, I mean, to me, that's where the interplay of all this comes together.
Lovely.
Well, our business has many unique challenges. We don't fit easily in a box. I remember when the whole Keep Austin Weird thing came around, and we immediately embraced it, but put our own spin on it. We're not keeping Austin weird, we're keeping it kinky. And we've been keeping it kinky for 36 years. Founded in 1981. I got there in 1982. And I absolutely embrace what Steve is saying, because I wish I could say that I founded the business, but I didn't. The gentleman who founded the business, he absolutely embraced the concept that we are going to be selling items related to sex. And who can think of a more uncomfortable topic? But we're all human, and it's something that we all ultimately want, need, crave, experiment with, try, shun, feel shame, whatever. And so his philosophy that we have taken and moved forward with is, it is absolutely about having a sense of humor. The first thing he started out that the store initially sold were gag gifts, goofy gag gifts and novelties, things that you were going to get for birthdays, bachelorette parties, weddings, things like that. And it just kind of moved forward from there, because his philosophy was that when we can look at ourselves and laugh at ourselves, then we're going to kind of relax a little bit, and we're going to let our guard down. And then for us, when I took the business over, I took it to the next step, which is I wanted to embrace play. I feel like when we are playing as human beings, we are at our absolute best. We are having fun, we've let our guard down, we're more open, we're more accepting, and so I wanted to take the store and create an environment that embraced that concept of play and playfulness and humor. And when we first started, up until around the early 2000s, we were like one of the only games in town. But now, like everybody else, we are competing not only with other bricks and mortars that have opened up, but we are competing with the dreaded Amazon. And one of the biggest problems we have is that people come in and showroom us. Have you heard the term showrooming? Do you know what it means? For those of you who don't, it basically means they're going to come in to our store, pick up a product, look at it, and then go buy it for less on Amazon. They've used us to basically check it out. And so, what we are trying to do is really promote the fact that we know there are going to be a percentage of people that are going to do that. But what we want to try and do is appeal to people's greater sense of good and doing good, and that is remind them that buying it here is going to keep your money here, and so that's why we totally embrace the concept, of AIBA. And so what we try to do to continue to incorporate that is a lot of what Steve says is we're trying to create an environment. We want you to come in, and we've tried to create a store that's different. It's different from another bricks and mortar that you might walk into. When we did the exercise earlier today, and she wanted to know what our room or our car was a boudoir. And our store is decorated to look like a boudoir, because we want you to walk in and immediately feel like, wow, this is kind of a comfortable, relaxed, easygoing environment. And we also then have, we pioneered the concept of the home party sale here in 1982. That's how I got my start in this business. So the other thing we try and do is find pioneering concepts that kind of continue to help us bring our mission out into the community, as well as bring the community into us. So we started doing those home party wear sales, pardon my French, but we used to call them fuckerware parties. And then in 1995, we started doing the workshops here. In fact, we just did one on Sunday called Oralicious. Blow him away, go to the head of the class. So we try and do fun things like that, but we try and absolutely incorporate humor into it. And if you've ever seen any of our ads in the Chronicle, tongue is planted firmly in cheek. You know, August is Anal Health and Pleasure Month. We've got rear end alignment specials going on at Forbidden Fruit in August. So it's totally about not being afraid. We take a really fearless approach to absolutely embracing that, because particularly for what we're doing and we're selling, people are so naturally already uncomfortable and closed in. So the best way we can diffuse it is through humor, but then also trying to find ways to let people feel like we're more than just a store, we're a community resource. This is a place where you can come, and we're not trying to shove the most expensive vibrator in your hands. We're here to give you, though I'd love to put a vibrator in every home, but truly for us,
get what you pay for.
Yeah, yeah. Truly for us, it's about being that community resource that if you've got questions, we've got answers. We're a shame-free, sex-positive zone.
Great. Mark?
It's hard to follow up.
I was going to say, and good luck, Mark.
Yoga? What was the question? So I will say that, so I own, my partner and I, Aaron Lewis, co-own Sukha Yoga. Sukha means sweet space in Pali and Sanskrit. So it's a sweet space, and it also means literally in Russian, bitch. And so that's just what it means. But it fits. It fits in a way that it's a sweet space, but you're all parts of everyone that works there, that comes there, that's part of the community. All parts of them are welcome, literally. So your sweet parts, your bitchy parts, all parts of your human experience are welcome at Sukha. I love the play part for both you guys, having fun, humor, play. The reality of it is, we don't follow a lineage. We're not a Yingar, and if you don't know what this means, it's fine. But we're not dogmatic, we don't follow lineage. We play. We play with our hearts, our spirits, and really that's what it's about, getting out of the box. All our teachers have various backgrounds and trainings. A lot of them have gone through our own Sukha training, and that's at this point a prerequisite so they can get an idea, so we can have continuity of what we're offering the community. But Aaron and I had a vision, and really the vision comes down to this. What do we like, and what makes our heart sing? And then what we say to ourselves often is, comparison is the thief of joy, sweep our own floors. Right? That's the best thing that we can do, is put our head down, do what we love, and the rest of the stuff will take care of itself. If we get lost externally out there and not playing, right? We're not playing, we're wrapped up in comparing and not minding our own business, sweeping our own floors, then we get lost. And then things get a little sideways. So what we found, the weirdness in us is, yeah, it's just all your humanity's welcome, the weird parts, the sweet parts, the bitchy parts, all of it. Sex parts, all of it, right? Just keep your vibrators at home, please. They don't belong on the yoga floor.
That's great.
So I have to say this, I actually did see something once about a vibrating yoga mat.
Oh, yeah.
So, just...
We don't do naked yoga, I know it's a thing. Maybe talk to Lynn, coordinate a naked yoga. It's gonna get, see, this is the
That could be our next workshop.
Yeah, they can, yeah.
You know,
I'm gonna be instructing dress, though.
you're impeccably dressed. Oh, every time I've seen you. So, I'm thinking back to how our school was founded. My business partner, John Conway, and myself had taught I taught at 2 massage schools at that point. And John had co-taught with me at a school called Texas School of Massage Studies, which was pretty much the first school in Texas. And after about 3.5 years, we saw that it wasn't being run. We were teaching these cool healing subjects in the classroom, but the way it was being run wasn't congruent with the spirit that we were creating in the classroom. So our founding statement, our mission statement, was to run the school in a manner as healing as the subjects we teach. And that's a great mission statement because we can always do a better job. You know, at any point we can say, so is this going to result in us doing things in as healing a manner as the subjects that we're teaching? And it goes to the point that some people have been talking about, saying we've moved beyond a service economy and we've moved into what they call the experience economy. I think there's a book at BookPeople called The Experience Economy. And the idea is that we're all providing an experience, not just a service. Clearly, what we're talking about, when you walk into BookPeople, there's this open sense of things, of this wonderful knowledge, of nice people helping you. Forbidden fruit, you know, I'm embarrassed to say I've never been there, but I'm definitely going to go now. And I am.
You're going to get spanked
And
when you come in.
I'm going to get spanked. No, that's the price I pay.
You're going to have to spank you, Dick.
And I've been to Sukha quite a number of times. This experience economy. And one of the things about this experience, and uniquely about the experience of Austin, is it's got soul. This is a city with soul. This is a city with music at its heart. And we've all known that, and it's one of the reasons we're here, is to have that soul food, to have that soul music, to have that soul yoga, soul sex, and soul books. Honestly.
But David, seriously, like, you know, we're going on about our own businesses and everything, but in the grand scheme of things, the 60,000 people a year who are moving here, they aren't actually part of all that yet. So the idea is, how do we as businesses generate what we thought was cool about the place before any of these people who are moving here now even thought about being born, probably. And so that to me is like a kind of more pressing issue for all of us here together, is how do we generate that, or does it even have a value? I mean, to me, I think it does. I think that the reason people come here is this abstract concept a little bit. It's kind of cool, and you can go outdoors a lot more than in Minnesota, and you can, you know, there's music and all this, but half the population hasn't been here 5 years probably. And so they don't know any of these businesses that we think are ourselves or are iconic, or we've been around a long time. They don't know anything about them. They're just some other business somewhere. How do we generate that feeling that there's something cool about the place, other than that they saw it in a Money magazine article about being the #1 place for venture capital or something? I mean, to me, that's a more pressing thing for all of us to really get behind.
I propose we make everybody who moves here have to fill out a survey of what makes them weird, so that we can have them on file. Sit by the Austin Independent Business Alliance. All right, let's throw that out there.
They're not talking about deporting people for weirdness, are they now?
If they're not weird enough, we're going to make them move back.
Make a move to Waco.
I recently went to see the film Honky Tonk Heaven about the broken spoke.
Ah.
It was wonderful. When James White was interviewed afterwards, and who's the owner, founder, and owner, operator. And he said, you know, think of all the money we've generated here in Austin. People who come from all over the world come to this spoke. And yet, we are given no tax break, no help, no support to the arts. You know, so I really would love to see AIBA place itself in a way to provide, if Austin is true about wanting to be affordable, if it's true about wanting to be iconic, if it's true about wanting to be weird, not particularly a word I like, but, you know, nonetheless, then I'd like to see them step up and do something about the taxes and the cost, because these businesses here are the ones that are generating Austin, the Austin that is attracting you. At least that's my opinion. You bring a very valid point about who knows Austin the way we know Austin. And it's not necessarily the whole group of people who lived in here the last year.
Well, for any of you who've been here for any period of time, I mean, I know my friends, it's a constant complaint. They'll be like, oh my God, what's happened to our town? And I'm like you didn't see this coming? You know, so, but I agree with what Steve is saying. I mean, if I could impress anything upon you to help, you know, it's a two-sided coin in that we want to preserve this sense of uniqueness, this iconic weirdness that we are, you know, trying to embrace. And then how do we do that? And in a way, really doing that is like continuing to separate yourself, you know, from the crowd. For those of us who've been here, we know what the older and more iconic and potentially, you know, weird businesses are. Do we want all these new businesses doing the same, or is that what helps us feel different from those new businesses? So it's one of those things where you got to ask yourself, yeah, it's great. Maybe we want you to be weird, or then maybe, no, we only, I mean, or maybe we just have to out-weird them. You know, the new ones that come in, out-local them, you know, out-weird them, or something like that. So, because when I was thinking about it, I was going like, yeah, you know, I love the fact that we've got it. And I've actually said to a number of people that I've met who've moved here, I'm going like, I've got just one word for you now that you're here: assimilate. Please, we don't care how you did it in LA or Buffalo or wherever you came from. I'm assuming you came here because you like the vibe we had here. So what can you do to keep the vibe alive? And then maybe that's something we need to figure out how to embrace and put forward in our businesses. It's like, you're here now, help us keep it weird, you know? But how do you do that? How might that translate to each and every, you know, one of your businesses? You know, for us, it's humor, it's the workshops, it's being a community resource, it's the way we've decorated, you know, the inside of our store. For some people, being weird may be the business that's not weird, that everybody else is doing it this one way. Maybe you actually go in a more standard track. It then falls into that, okay.
Well, I'm just curious, you know, so weird is what has been established as the platform for us to keep Austin weird. So we have to go with that. But I'm also curious, who does that leave out? Because there are a lot of businesses, as you say, there are mom and pop shops all over Austin. They're working really hard. They are not weird. They are maybe not even unique. They are people who are putting their heart and soul in their business every day to show up and do what needs to be done.
They actually probably are unique, and they actually are probably trying to do the same thing that we're trying to do, which is create some sort of experience. Because if you're talking about shops, period, there isn't anything for sale anymore that you can't buy online. And so everybody who's selling anything has to create an experience, or no one's going to go to wherever it is they're selling it and buy the stuff. I mean, it's just, I don't think there's anything. Hell, you can probably do yoga online. Actually, you can. You get a video. You can sit in your living room and do yoga videos. You don't have to,
yoga.
You don't
sit
have
in your chair and do yoga.
You don't have to leave your house to do anything anymore. What do we do to? I mean, part of what sustains all of us is that people are so burned out already on being in their house all the time. They want to go out and have an experience. But I do think we can generate this. Part of what you asked, I mean, part of what we all need to do as a group is continue to keep our eye on what's going on, like political action, what we have to do. I know I'm part of a group of a bunch of people looking at affordable housing. Okay, I mean, one of those little elements of all these businesses that we all have is that none of the people who work at any of our businesses can afford to live here anymore. You know, my employees are living like 8 people in a one-bedroom apartment. I mean, to get by, not exactly, but close. And so, what can we do? Or what can we do to participate in these efforts to try and actually have some sort of affordable housing scheme? Because it's not going to happen, but like with private enterprise exactly. It's a complicated issue. How do we do that? How do we develop affordable transportation so you can get from one place to another? I mean, you know, this is the largest city in the United States without public transportation, a rail of any sort. Okay, we have these kind of bonehead bus things, you know, that they're supposed to be like express buses, but they're driving on the same street as everybody else, so they're not express at all. But I mean, so there's all these issues going on, and I know everybody gets their head buried in their store or their business, but I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening around us that's going to keep the place weird, so to speak, by allowing creative arts to flourish, or it's going to crush it all and it's not going to be here anymore, and we can be Dallas hoping to, you know, make things like Dallas was in 1910 or something.
That's serious. I agree. Any more questions or comments from the audience?
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
But I mean, so what would that look like? If the city of Austin, not the city of Austin government, the city of Austin, all the new businesses, the new people come in, what would there be, an 8% tax to support the arts, to support affordable housing?
There's already a tax, it's a hotel tax, but it's the question is how's that allocated? It's not allocated correct. That's one of the big issues. What's the allocation on the hotel tax? That's millions of dollars come in. There's a whole groups trying to allocate that so that the creative arts are getting a bigger piece of the action instead of it all going to the convention center, which apparently doesn't even need it. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. It's just keeping alert to what's going on. And I mean, it's not simple. None of these things have really easy solutions. None of them have quick solutions, but it's just keeping our eyes open and trying to make this place still be unique because, I mean, eventually if it isn't, then, I mean, kind of who cares, right? It's Dallas in the middle.
Yeah, I would say if I could impart, you know, one, you know, suggestion, and I like to say my advice is worth what you pay for it, so do with it what you will. But it would be to find out what is unique about your business and then really put that forward. You know, is it the experience? Is it some particular product? Is it the way you present the product? Is it some way that you interface with the community? Is it conscientious capitalism? What is it? Is it your unique, your you know, passion for your business? Find that one thing, or maybe two or three, and figure out a way to put that front and center in the way you present yourself, in the way you market yourself, you know, present yourself, and then make sure you're true to that whenever somebody does come in, you know, to your business.
One final pitch on what you mentioned about AIBA doing something. I will put this pitch in. There's a membership drive going on for AIBA right now, so everybody in here will bring in one new member. That will be a big help in increasing the strength that AIBA has when it goes to the city. AIBA is a strong force for representing all of us in front of the city government, which is the main government that impacts all of us. And every single member matters to the city council members to a degree that I had no clue about until I got involved with this stuff. If 10 people show up and they're a group, they pay a little bit of attention. If 1,000 people show up and they're a group, they pay a lot of attention. And we need to have more members, frankly. And so
We were talking about scaling earlier. AIBA is the way we scale small business. They are the person that, even when Rebecca goes down there, when she walks through the door, they look at her and go, they don't see her as one person, they see her as how many businesses are in this organization?
Hundreds now. So everybody get one, I mean, it's a minimal effort, get one other business to join, and you will have suddenly increased our membership. I mean, you know, we hope double, but maybe whatever it is. And that is something that Rebecca can take to the city council next time she's talking and say, you know, we don't represent 400 businesses, we represent 800 businesses. And I mean, whatever they fantasize that means, who cares? That's what it is. And so it would be a big help to all of us for us to make that effort.
Nice. Mark?
Yeah, I'll just add really quickly one thing. For me, it's less about weird in a sense, because we take our approach that inherently we're all individually weird, right? So it's less about that and then honoring your unique experience, and whatever that is for you, your passion, honoring your passion. And personally for us, we support all the local. So for me, when I think of weird, what I think of is local. That's kind of what I think of. I think mom and pop, I think local, and I think, can I go in and how many degrees of separation is it between me and who owns the business? right? I want to be able to have a relationship. So, like when I get my coffee, I support 3 different coffee shops up and down South Lamar, but I do skip Starbucks. That's how I support local
Always
business.
skip Starbucks.
Right. So I am, you know, I am right down there I know the owners of the 3 coffee shops that I support right in the hood where our yoga studio is on South Lamar. And that's part of the growing the community, right? Building community of people that I can shake your hand, have a conversation with and say, how is your business going? How can we then support each other? And what can we do to help grow what we call weird Austin business? Whatever that is, whatever that looks like, it's just supporting people just like us. And that's kind of our approach.
Are we, I heard you, I was on the massage chair when you did a last call for questions, so I got up, ready to do my job.
I do just want to say, because that's when I turned to Steve and I said, when he said when he thinks of weird, he thinks of local, and I was like, that was the whole point, really.
Support local businesses, that's what it says.
Yeah, that's really kind of the connection that we're also hoping that people will make. Weird equals local.
Yeah. I mean, Austin as a whole has a certain personality. And the question is, you know, what feeds that personality and what detracts from that personality? And Weird doesn't cover it, but Austin covers it. And we need to be clear and have a voice to represent the personality and the uniqueness that brought us here or that helped you be raised here and helped you represent it.
And be mindful of the people who might start weird washing.
Well, there is weird washing.
There is weird washing going on, so be aware.
And this little motto has been stolen by friends of mine and friends of John Kuntz's at Waterloo. I mean, there's a Keep Boulder weird, there's Keep Louisville weird, there's Keep Santa Cruz weird, there's Keep Portland weird. All of those are modeled on, or copied from this with the hope that they would be able to create the connection between local businesses and the weird, you know, whatever it was. They've had some success in some of those places, but frankly, we had the right mindset to start with here, and everybody just got it all at the same time, and it's something about it and about Austin and about the way it's worked here actually hasn't worked really. Just using the words, I mean, calling some other place, they Keep Boulder weird, hasn't done it exactly. It's something in the DNA here that we're all part of, and that's the way it is. So we got it. We got what we have. That's our unique, whatever it is, you know, element of life. So let's get with it.
Continue to lead by example, right? I mean, that's really what it gets down to.
Steve Bercu with BookPeople, Lynn Raridon with Forbidden Fruit, Mark Herron with Sukha Yoga. Let's give a big...
David Lauterstein and Conway.